Hi, I am Movie Man. I am an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on.
You're showing off.
Maybe a little.
Okay, so here we go with my review of Madame Web. Now, this is a film which I have been wanting to review because, ever since it was released last week, the reviews for it have been absolutely terrible. Like, people have just been giving this movie absolutely horrible reviews. And currently on Rotten Tomatoes, it actually has a lower percentage than Morbius. Yeah, so it's safe to say that nobody has really been that nice to this movie. And so, now that I have seen the film for myself, what do I think? Do I think this film is deserving of all the negative reviews that it has gotten? In my opinion, yes. I am afraid to say that I'm pretty much agreed. This movie is pretty terrible, and I think it is, without a doubt, the worst movie I have seen so far this year. To start things off, the cinematography in this film, it can be alright at some points, but there are other points where it is actually pretty bad. Like, I'm not joking. There are some scenes in this film where, the camera's just shakily moving about, and it's just like, what's going on? Is the cameraman okay? And it just does not work. It is honestly pretty shocking how bad it can be at times. Even during some of the action scenes, it can be shot honestly pretty damn bad at times. Oh boy, it's not a very well shot movie. So yeah, the cinematography, not great. Now, the editing in this film, uh, like, now, I'm not gonna, the editing can be okay at some points, but, especially during some of the action sequences, it can honestly be, pretty damn bad. It's just very poorly edited, it's so bad that there's even certain points where like the talk doesn't even really like sync up, you know, because the ending just kind of moves like way too quickly at points. Like during the action sequences, especially, they're just like edited like pretty poorly. Um, yeah, and honestly, at times it's honestly just really hard to make out what's going on. Like there's like I mean, there's some scenes where like she's like having like a glimpse into like what's about to happen, and you're kind of just wondering, wait, is this actually happening or is it just, you know, is it like about to happen? It's honestly just pretty confusing. So yeah, the editing is not great either. Now the pacing in this film. Now this is a relatively long film. I mean, well, it's not very long. An hour and 56 minutes. I know the pacing is not great either. Like, I'll be honest, there are some scenes like or sequences during the movie which kind of go on for a bit too long, and yeah, it's just really not great. And but like then at times, the pacing kind of goes by a bit too quickly to where you're kind of wondering like, okay, wasn't this kind of supposed to happen? Or like, shouldn't we have seen this? Yeah, so the pacing in this film is not great either. The sound and music in the film, I mean, like, to be fair, they do feature, since this movie is set in 2003, we do hear some early 2000s tracks in this, and yeah, their presence is pretty much welcome when they come, but like, yeah, I think the score itself is just really meh. Like, it's just such a generic score. It's just not very good. Um. So yeah, the score itself is just very generic. The visual effects in this movie, I am not gonna lie, they actually looked genuinely really bad. Like, I'm not gonna lie, they actually looked pretty shocking at points. And like I didn't think the CGI in Morbius was that great, but like, oh boy, the visual effects here are actually just really shocking. Yeah, they are very bad. Now we get to the characters and the performances from the cast. Starting things off, we have our titular character herself, Madame Web, or Cassandra Cassie Webb. Um, like, I don't know, I did not find her a very likable protagonist. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she could actually be pretty unlikable at points. Like there's times where she just like she just doesn't really seem to care much. Like, she just kind of seems to abandon the girls, and the movie kind of treats it as like she kind of seems to grow, but like I just didn't really feel her character growth at all. I thought they kind of like rushed through all of that, and yeah, I just found her a pretty underwhelming protagonist. And I mean, I think Dakota Johnson, this script just does not give her much to work with. Yeah, so I thought she was not a great protagonist. Then we have the other three Spider Women. We have Julia Cornwall, Anya Corazon, and Maddie Franklin. Now I thought like the three of them, like I don't know, I mean they didn't really do anything inherently unlikable, but I just didn't really find any to be that likable either. There's something really about them that makes me, really care about any of them as characters, and like what we do know about them, we're just told about it. We don't actually probably get to see it, so unfortunately, I just don't really end up caring about them that much. Like, now in terms of performances, I think these three actresses, they do okay jobs, but like, again, they're just not given that much to work with here. And I just didn't really feel, the chemistry between them or with Dakota Johnson. The chemistry, I think they really need to have great chemistry with each other in order for this, to kind of really work. But I just really did not feel the chemistry between them at all. So yeah, I thought they just weren't great. I mean, the acting from them was fine, but I didn't really find them that bad as characters, but they just weren't really very memorable or likable either. And again, I felt there wasn't really any chemistry between them at all. And then we have the villain of the movie, Ezekiel Sims. Oh boy, he sucked. Like, I thought he was genuinely such a bad villain. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, he was just not a very interesting villain at all. I mean, you kind of understand some of his motivations, but there's just, you just can't really get behind him at all. He's just so flat. He's so wooden. Like, he's not a great antagonist at all, and I mean, I'll give Morbius this. At least Milo was actually an interesting and entertaining villain. Yeah, I actually rewatched Morbius the day I saw this movie, and I'll be honest, on rewatch, I have actually really come around to Milo. Like, not only Matt Smith just a ton of fun in the role, but really I think he's the only interesting thing about the movie, so, I'll give him that. But the villain in this movie, though, he just sucks. He's just not an interesting villain. I found the performance from his actor just very wooden. By the way, is it just me or does this guy look a tiny bit like Keanu Reeves? Oh, and also it doesn't help either that at points that it just that's like his audio just doesn't match up with him. Like, there's this one scene where he's in his suit, he's kind of swooping across buildings, and we hear him talking, but it just doesn't seem to match up. with his movements. Like, yeah, I thought he sucked as a villain. Now, in terms of some of the other characters, now we have Adam Scott in the movie in a supporting role. Now, I won't really say much about his character, but like, see, they did something with his character that could have been really interesting, but they just didn't do anything with it. But I will give Adam Scott this though. He is this film's redeeming quality. Like, in the things that he's in, he is just he is really fun in the role. I think he's really the best thing about the movie. But again, I still think like what they did with his character just could have been way more interesting. We also have Emma Roberts in this as well in a supporting role. Yeah, I thought they just completely wasted her in this movie. Like, what again? They did something with her character, could have been really interesting, but they just did not do anything with it. So, yeah, I mean, the characters for the most part just were not great, especially the villain. And I'll admit the acting was fine for the most part, but I feel like a lot of these actors just could have been given a way better to work with. Now in terms of the plot of the movie, like the plot of the film is really, Madam Web, well, Cassandra Webb, she discovers, that she's a clairvoyant, that she can see into the future, and like she basically has to protect the three young women from the main villain who's out to kill them. And yeah, I just thought like the movie really did not do a good job with the premise at all. Like I thought the movie really skimmed over, like the chemistry between the girls. It just really wasn't felt. And like I mean like you just it's just not very fun at all either, like even with all the action scenes. It's just not a fun superhero movie. It's just really, it can just be a very boring watch. And yeah, the chemistry just really is not there. And like the movie kind of tries to be funny at times, and like I laughed once during the movie, that was it. And like even then the film just it really just skims over a lot of things. Like you're kind of wondering, okay, how did this happen? Like there's just a lot of stuff that happens in this movie that literally does not make like any sense at all. Um yeah, so I just thought the movie really fumbles the concept. Now, in terms of the narrative structure, like this movie really did not feel like a cohesive narrative. Like I mean, we've got the main plot with like with Madam Web, and her having to protect the young women. Like I mean, you kind of have that plot, but it's also like her kind of trying to discover like her powers, and like she's also kind of trying to to find out stuff in the movie. And yeah, I just don't think it works at all. Like the movie, it skims over things. You're not really caring too much about things. And yeah, like not to mention Like, I think the character growth, it just really is not felt at all. Like, you just don't really end up caring, and yeah, again, like, the movie doesn't even like do anything interesting with with like the three girls to make you care about them as characters, make you care about what happened to them, and their whole chemistry with each other. You just do not feel it at all. So yeah, I think the movie pretty much just completely fumbled with its narrative, with its concept, with the growth and chemistry with the characters. It just did not work in the end. So yeah, overall, I think this film is pretty much deserving of all the hate it has been getting. Yeah, this movie was honestly just awful. Like, I mean, it was shot pretty bad, it was edited pretty bad, there was some really bad visual effects, the characters weren't great, the villain just really sucked. It just completely fumbled its concept. You didn't care about the chemistry or the growth of the characters, and even then, it skimmed over things. You're left wondering, okay, why, boy, shouldn't this be happening? Or yeah, it's just a complete mess. That's not to say it is an absolute failure. Like, I mean, I think the acting is fine for the most part, and I'll admit that Adam Scott, he's pretty entertaining from what he does get, but aside from that though, this movie is just awful. I do not recommend checking it out. Like, hopefully Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3 will be better than this, but yeah, between Morbius and now this, I wouldn't be surprised if the SSU ends up becoming the next DCEU, if you know what I mean. So with that, I am going to give Madam Web a 2 out of 10. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.